welcome. We begin our evening tonight knowing that for some of us, our capacities are already limited as the end of the semester is packed with events and deadlines. The trial and its subsequent verdict, the recent killings of Micaiah Bryant, Dante Wright, Adam Toledo, and the shooting of FedEx workers from the Sikh community. Violence against the Asian community and murders in Atlanta, anti-trans legislation, cruelty towards protesters, and the ongoing global pandemic are in the constant news cycles and in our hearts. Racism and white supremacy seek to divide people of color, but we reject this notion and understand the intersectionality. The weight is heavy, and we gather tonight to help each other carry the hope and sorrow. Please take care of yourself in ways that bring you life, which may include needing to step away from this space or tuning in at a later time. In the planning of this evening, we have tried to prioritize the need for rest for our students, faculty, and staff. We are grateful for all of those who assisted in this gathering, but are unable to be present.
I can't breathe. The words uttered by George Floyd have echoed in our ears since May. Yesterday, as the news of the guilty verdict was announced, many in the Black community came back to these words. The poet Ariel Astoria shared these thoughts. And with a collective exhale, all the Black bodies sighed. We have been holding our breath for longer than we can count now. Our fists still raised, but for a moment they rest. Wrapped over each other in a sigh of relief, justice for once has been served, whatever that even means anymore. We have so much work to do, but for this moment, we can breathe. And the irony of that, we breathe for all the bodies who cannot. We breathe, we love, we fight for those taken. We have so much work to do, but for this moment, we inhale hope and we breathe. 760 miles from Minneapolis, moments before the verdict was announced, the breath of Micaiah Bryant was taken from her by a police officer. The relief felt was taken again, and some of us hold our breath once more. Breath prayer is an ancient practice that connects short, memorable phrases with deep breathing. As we enter into this space of community, let us center our thoughts and body in breath. At your own pace, take 5 slow, deep breaths. As you inhale, repeat, "This week has required too much." As you exhale, repeat, "I will tend to my body and spirit."
We acknowledge the collective and personal trauma that the trial, verdict, and continued brutality have caused and stirred within us. Acknowledging feelings helps ease emotional distress. Connecting with how your body is feeling, how your body holds pain and trauma, is empowering, whether it be tension, crying, anxiety, alertness, restlessness, energy, or others. Naming your emotions helps to validate and hold space for your distress. Consider these. Are the recent events of loss and violence affecting me? Where do I feel this in my body? Notice your jaw, shoulders, and your breath. What emotions am I feeling? Outrage, hope, frustration, fear, relief, anger, lament, worry, sadness. What do I need to take care of myself today? What will I do to hold myself with compassion? Acknowledge your needs and take care of yourself accordingly. Breathing, crying, use your voice and say what you need. Allow yourself space to be not all together right now. Connect with people you trust, set boundaries, and take a break.
In his book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, Ibram X. Kendi writes, "Pain is usually essential to healing. When it comes to healing America of racism, we want to heal America without pain. But without pain, there is no progress." The anti-racist power within is the ability to view my own racism in the mirror of my past and present. View my own anti-racism in the mirror of my future. View my own racial groups as equal to other racial groups. View the world of racial inequity as abnormal. View my own power to resist and overtake racist power and policy. He continues, "There is nothing I see in our world today, in our history, giving me hope that one day anti-racists will win the fight, that one day the flag of anti-racism will fly over a world of equity. What gives me hope is a simple truism. Once we lose hope, we are guaranteed to lose. But if we ignore the odds and fight to create an anti-racist world, then we give humanity a chance to one day survive, a chance to live in communion, a chance to be forever free."
After the verdict was announced yesterday afternoon, I started to see comments on social media that didn't quite sit right. Some were calling the verdict justice, but it really was not justice, at least not in the way we have come to understand that word. Certainly we have something right in this guilty verdict of murder, some cause for celebration or acknowledgement, but that's not justice. Justice rolls down the mountains. Justice changes the coastlines and carves out canyons. Justice allows human life to flourish and to be beautiful. We need to see that justice, and to see justice, we have to have hearts of hope. Hope is different from optimism. To be honest, I'm not much of an optimist in general, but especially when it comes to people and systems changing. Optimism is an outlook that anticipates things working out on their own. I'm not an optimist, but I am hopeful. Hope is not based on seeing results, but in seeing each other and who we are and how we can come together in community. Hope is sharing our aspirations and our values together. Hope is also recognizing our discouragements and grieving together. And of course, hope is working together, because injustice will not become justice on its own. Networks of privilege and power put up an awful fight. As a member of Holy Cross, hope is something I've dedicated my life to cultivating. It's only by my hope in God and my hope in the power of the gospel to call us to transformation that I can be of service to anybody. I learned early on that I can't try to fix things or to fix people. But I can bring hope And while the cross and anchors that the brothers and priests of Holy Cross wear around our necks are chrome shiny, the reality is that hope is gritty, submerged, weighty, sharp, and rusty. Hope anchors us even when we don't see much promise, when we hope against hope. But as that reading just told us, whether we're inclined to hope or not, it's what we have and what we must continue, and what will help us to sustain each other and to continue to work for justice, to continue to work to dismantle racist systems, and to bring life and beauty in the flourishing of each human person.
This is a call to action. I'm going to start with the words of Amanda Gorman, our National Youth Poet Laureate. A reminder that victory would be George Floyd being alive. Every day, Black Americans worry if they will be next is another day without justice. The killing of Black and brown bodies is systemic, and it's woven into the fabric of our country. True justice requires us to harness our power to dismantle these structures of racism, and this is not new. But what's different is that now we have the access to see it in real time. Many of us, especially people in our BIPOC community, have been engaged in this work for their entire lives. They're tired. We have to take action beyond sharing on social media. So what can we do? What does that look like in our community? Here are some ideas. Use your sphere of influence. Hold your family and friends accountable. Challenge yourself to engage in respectful conversation. Watch and listen for scapegoating, for bias, for generalizations. Support and attend events, workshops, conferences, and things that focus on race-related issues. Seek out those events on campus and in the greater Austin community through organizations like the Austin Justice Coalition. Each of us should search our own consciences to determine the right course of action during this convergence of life and death issues. Diversify your knowledge and check your information bias. Look out for news and information from groups focused on racial equality, and diversify your news outlets. Support the work, the art, and the labor of businesses of people of color. Institutional barriers and systemic barriers have led to a lack of representation and a lack of support for many marginalized communities. Our communities are rich and dynamic. Don't just show up for tragedy. Celebrate joy and creativity. Joy is resistance. Advocate. If you have the ability to vote, vote. Vote in every local election. Vote in every state election. Vote in every national election, and tell everyone you know to vote. And then hold your elected officials accountable with letter writing, with meetings, with protest, and with collaborative action. Early voting in Austin is happening right now. And finally, protest. Fight back against systems when they're unjust. We would not have seen accountability in Minneapolis if activists had not protested and demanded action all year round and all across the world. From the words of brilliant feminist author Bell Hooks from Sisterhood, Political Solidarity Between Women, solidarity is not the same as support. To experience solidarity, we must have a community of interests, shared beliefs and goals around which to unite, to build community. Support can be occasional, it can be given and just as easily withdrawn, but solidarity requires sustained and ongoing commitment.
the university provides several resources for students and employees at this time. More information and contact numbers may be found in the description on this video. The President's Task Force on Systemic Racism will offer an in-person racial healing circle on Tuesday, April 27. Please RSVP via the link below. Students, the HCC counseling team is currently available to you if you're interested in counseling resources. To connect with them, please call during business hours to speak with a clinician. If you need crisis, emergency counseling support, you can visit the HCC during business hours, or you can reach them via UPD after hours. Our Students of Color Support Group just finished up their spring semester and will continue to be offered in the fall. Employees and members of their households who need emotional or mental health support can access the AWP Employee Assistance Program, the EAP, 24/7. Sessions can vary from a single session to 7 sessions depending on the individual need, at no cost to the employee. Additionally, HR has secured the services of a licensed professional to facilitate SEU Community Conversations on Thursday morning. Join in this safe space to share in conversation, active listening, and collective healing. The times and link are in the description below.
We are strengthened by the hope we find in our community and the opportunities to express our sorrow with one another. If you are on campus or in the area, we invite you to participate in an artistic expression of our unity. There are fabric ribbons on the deck of the campus ministry building, located next to the chapel, representing our hopes, sorrows, and truths. You are invited to write on the ribbons between now and tomorrow evening and tie them to the peace pole in the garden. If you would like to participate but are unable to come to campus, please email your hopes, sorrows, and/or truths to cmen@stedwards.edu, and we will ensure they are added. We end this time with a call and response from our liturgist Cole Arthur Riley. Please repeat each statement after me. My dignity cannot be diminished. My pain is not a burden. My protest is holy. Lament is not despair. My tears are worthy. I deserve to be safe. I will listen to my body. Thank you for your participation. Good night.